But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Now, Yahweh doesn't translate as Lord ever. So it's a mistranslation that they put. God as a noun and verb is appropriate. Establishing, established. Increasing existence, but not Lord. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with God. And Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And God said unto Noah, Then all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make of it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits. So is that 450 feet, or are they talking fingertip to elbow, which for some of us could be a couple feet, so 600 feet? Or the breadth of it, 50 cubits, and the height of it, 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shalt thou set in the side thereof. With lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, to bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life, from under the heaven, and establish, and everything that is in the earth shall die, but with thee will I establish my covenant. And thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee, and of every living thing, of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female, of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee, to keep them alive, and to take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteousness before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7s, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female, of fowls also of the air by 7s, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth, for yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, into the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the waters prevailed, and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle, and of beast, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land, died, and every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. And God remembered Noah, and every living thing, and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged, the fountains also of the deep. And the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained, and the waters returned from off the earth continually. And after the end of the 150 days, the waters were abated, and the ark rested in the 7th month, and on the 17th day of that month, upon the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decrease gradually into the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, were the tops of the mountains seen. And in this day and age, the 10th month starts with a little holiday. And the 7th month continues to be one of the sacred months, although neither that is the point of this story, is it? And it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made, and he sent forth a raven, which went forth to and fro until the waters were dried up from off the earth. Also he sent forth a dove from him to see if the waters were abated from off the face of the ground. But the dove found no rest for the sole of her foot, and she returned unto him into the ark, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. Then he put forth his hand and took her. He pulled her in unto him into the ark, and he stayed yet other 7 days, and yet again he sent forth the dove out of the ark. And the dove came in to him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth, and he stayed yet other 7 days, and sent forth the dove, which returned not again unto him any more. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, the waters were dried up from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, was the earth dried. I can't help but think there's a symbolic value to the days, which month it is, and the days. And God spoke unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all flesh, both of fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, every beast, every creeping thing, and every fowl, and whatsoever creepeth upon the earth after their kinds, went forth out of the ark. I can't help but think about Genesis being 50, relates to Marduk and that sort of thing, because or some other symbolic use of the word 50. But and Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and every clean fowl, the animals that are good for eating, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, well, if you're burning the fat or something, but burning a corpse, well, maybe God likes the smells of burning corpses, but humans, it's kind of horrible. So what do I mean by that? I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done. While the earth remaineth, seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall you not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require at the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, and at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of a man. Whoso sheddeth blood, by man shall his blood be shed for. In the image of God made he man. Now, nowadays people are saying that, it's homophobic or it's racist to support the death penalty for even murder. But, or treason that sets the ground for murder, right? And God spoke unto Noah, and to his sons with him, saying, And I behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you, for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of covenant between me and the earth. Well, what we hear in the start of Genesis, there must have been rainbows before that, so they just throw it in because where do rainbows come from? It shall come to pass when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh, and the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth. And Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine, and was drunken, and was uncovered within his tent. Always trying to say something disparaging about the prophets, aren't they? Well, not always, but an awful lot. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren without, and Shem and Japheth took a garment, and laid it upon both of their shoulders, and went backward, and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. So 50 is a particular number, thousands references to immortals and other mythologies, so significantly less than immortal. That's what human beings are going to be. And this is where I get my berry picking seasons, the season of 1,000 minus 50 scratches. So, this is where I get that from. But what we see is one, a warning against intoxication, and the other sounds like a baseless curse. It's like, father's drunk and naked. Let's cover him so nothing else happens to anyone else. That no one else sees that. It's like, how dare my sons hide my nakedness. The Tower of Babel. The whole earth was of one language and of one speech, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there, and they said one to another, Go, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go, too, let us build us a city, and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name. Well, there's different translations of name. They built themselves a heaven, like they were building themselves a spiritual kingdom with earthly tools, they thought. Lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. The story of Abraham. Ibrahim, somebody known to the cult of the one God among the Egyptians, 2200 to 1700 BCE. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The names of Abram's wife was Sarah and Sarai. I think that's how most people pronounce it. And the name of Nahor's wife, is it Nachor, or it's hard to tell when we're looking at English. Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, she had no child. And Terah took Abram as his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees, to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran, and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great narration, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curse thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abraham departed, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And unto the land of Canaan they came. Is there a ha in the middle of Canaan? Don't remember. Again, we're looking at English here. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sitchim, and unto the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. God's omnipresent, right? But very seldom do we more than believe that, if we believe it, that there's moments where a person perhaps can know that. And this is the one verse that people quote and say, oh, it's, see, blood and soil Zionism. No, look at all the over 200 verses that condemn that idea. And it appears the promise wasn't kept from time to time, so it must mean something else. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, house of God, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord. And he called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land. And Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon, for it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, and that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister. that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. Now, Bethel is also known as Rabbait, which is north of Yemen, according to the Bible. And Bethel is... And Rabbait is actually what Mecca was known as, although you do find mention of Bacca in the Bible, in the Haggarite territory. There was famine in the land, and went down to the Egyptians, and therefore the famine was serious in the land, and came to pass when he into Egypt, he said to Sarai his wife, Behold, I now see that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee that thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. Well, sister in faith. And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. The princess also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house, and he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he donkeys, and men servants, and maidservants, and she donkeys, and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, She is my sister, so I might have taken her to me, to wife? Now therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. What, did he think that Abram was just her pimp before that? And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that that he had. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar, which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdsmen of Abram's cattle and the herdsmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanites and Perizzite dwelled then in the land. Just like the later Philistines, Canaan is a later term that isn't quite what these people were, and you can't find a distinct culture. But Abraham, they picked a date to place Abraham at that represented the takeover of the Marduk cult. Him leading amongst that, where they were saying, "Oh, Marduk's got the 50 names of the other, all these 50 other deities. This is really Marduk." So that's an interesting side note to all that. And Abram said unto Lot, that there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdsmen and thy herdsmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right, or if thou depart to the right hand, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes, and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Amra was the name, so it's referring to life, so death and life. There are actually several cities of the plain, but in the Bible you have, a couple specific. Even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of the Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves from the one from the other. Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Now, actually, most of the people that you can say are this are Muslims. So what? These white Jews don't really have that lineage. But again, these two verses here tend to be qualified by over 200 other verses. I forgot about this verse. There's two verses that people point to and say, blood and soil, blood and soil, blood and soil. But, that's not really the message, is it? Then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. And so Islam, for example, says that there's no covenant with Abraham or the others just because they're his children. It's because, so his spiritual lineage, the covenant is with the righteous, the believers, the actual orthoprax, the actual orthodox. I mean, people misuse the term orthodox to refer to some conservative movement that's a response to changes in society, but I mean the terms more literally.